Okay, so next step we're gonna take, we're gonna create drop-down boxes. So there are two ways you can create drop-down boxes. One, you can create them from the row data, the one that you enter, and the other you can just use the pre-existing data sets, in the comma separated value CSV format or TX or text format, to import that data, pre-existing data, into your drop-down box. So let's look at how that would work. So to do that, I'll actually increase the size of this window so we could see better, and we're going to go into design view. All right. So the reason I increase is because if I drop it, collapse it, it will basically hide the window that we need. I mean, it's right here, but then it's much better if we just can be able to look at it. All right, so out of this, we need a drop-down box. I'm sorry, this is... all right, so we need this. And I'm just going to draw it here on the canvas. Right, so I'm holding my left button on the mouse button, and releasing it. So the combo box is going to give me options, and I want to select the second option. I will type in the values that I want, and then I'm going to click next. All right. As far as number of columns, I'm going to keep it at 1 because it's going to be just one. Just one column. So for the payment methods, and this is we're gonna create a drop-down box for the payment terms. So for the payment methods, we're gonna put weekly payment. The next is gonna be monthly payment, and let's put annual payment. We could put quarterly in, but let's put quarterly. And then the annual will be last. Okay, click next, and you can either remember the value for the later use, or in our case, we're going to store the value in the field payment terms. Okay, then we're going to name it payment terms and finish. All right, so now I need to format it a little bit to make it look a little bit better. Okay, so now that it's working, we can select, and basically it's going to appear here, but we don't need 2 boxes. So I'm going to delete one, and I'm going to replace the second one with it. Delete this, and we're going to move this here, and we're going to move this a little bit to the right. Like this. Okay, so now we have a nice drop-down combo box that gives us options that we don't have to guess, and we can just select. Great. The next thing I want to do, and we can actually follow our guide here, but we want to create drop-down boxes for 2 fields, country and state, right? So first thing that we need to do, actually, we'll need to create tables. So let's close this. Yes, I want to see those changes. And we're going to create 2 tables. table 1, and we're gonna name it okay, so let's just create let's just close it first. Well, let's save it, then we'll be forced to do it. All right, T country code. Actually, just country. Okay. Then we're going to create the next table and call it T state. Table state. All right. So in the country, we're going to have, I'm going to switch to design view. We're going to have 2 columns. So instead of ID, remember, this is a decode table. This is something that we're decoding abbreviated values into the full abbreviation, into the full spellings, right? So in the country code, we're going to replace the primary key with the country code. And it's going to be a short text. Again, it's not real primary key, but it kind of plays its role, so we're just going to keep it as a short text. Oh, I'm changing the state. So for the state, actually, while I'm here, I'm just going to use state abbreviation and the actual state. Okay, and I'm going to close the state. No, I was right the first time, I'm sorry. So let me just quickly change it back then. All right, so let me close this to avoid further confusion with the open tables, and then I'm going to open the state. Okay, so the state doesn't have anything yet, so we're going to enter state abbreviation, short text, and then the state, short text. Great, so we got 2 tables in. So the next thing, we need to import the data. Right? So let's start with the state. So what we're going to do, we're going to right-click on the state, select import from the text file, if I'm not mistaken, it was a text file. And we're going to select the second option, append a copy of the records to the table, and we're going to use state. Okay. And for the file name, we're going to browse and pick the file that we have stored previously. It's right here, states. And click OK. I need to close that. So Excel is, Access is very particular about, well, Microsoft in general, Windows is very particular about having certain certain windows open while the content is being modified. You can't do anything with it. Okay, so this is some warning that again, Windows is basically Windows is generating. So I'll just skip it. So okay, so now I need to import it, right? So there, if you see that it's delimited, my data is delimited. It has comma that separates the abbreviation and the actual name of the state. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select delimited and hit next, and then I'm gonna create a select comma because that's what separates them. If I select something else, it's not going to recognize it as a separator, so I'm selecting comma. And also notice that there's a column heading here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to check out first row contains field names, so it wouldn't count that as the actual data. Hit next, import to table to state, that's fine, and I'm going to click finish. State abbreviation doesn't exist. State. Okay, so state abbreviation. Abbreviation. That's strange. It should do it because it does exist. State, maybe underscore is not. Let's try something. So let me actually check something. I think it did save. It's just no, it didn't. Okay, that's fine. Close this. Oh, I see what might be the issue. So this state abbreviation doesn't really have. So here's what we can do about it. Let's actually change. I'm not going to change the file itself because I already uploaded it. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to change. It's not the best practice to leave spaces, but just to make a match, we're going to keep it just like the file does. So I'm going to save this. So basically I remove the underscore. Right, so now if we are going to import it, all right, do you want to save this one? Quickly repeat. No, I don't want it. And now we got the everything in. Perfect. So let's proceed with the countries table.